right, so it's 3 minutes past 4, and I think that should have been enough time for everybody who wanted to join us to join us. So let's start, I guess. So today we have an EEGS webinar with a long title: Level Up Your Brand: Engaging Content Strategies from Blogs to Podcasts for Ultimate SEO Success in the Gaming Industry. Sounds menacing, but I hope it won't be as menacing as it sounds. And thanks a lot to the EEGS and to BEG for giving me this opportunity to act as the main speaker at such a distinguished event. This is the first time for me, but I hope that everything goes smooth and my presentation doesn't hang or it doesn't break. And I have to confess, there is not a lot of images in my presentation, much more text, but I still hope that it won't be boring, that every one of you would be able to find at least something useful and bring something to your working table and possibly use it to your benefit. Okay, so let's start. My name's Eugene Ravdin, or Evgeny Ravdin, as you wish to put it. And I have a certain experience in content creation I've acquired over the years. I spent practically all of my professional career in sports media, although I had a degree in IT, but somehow, I guess many of you know that you rarely work in the field that you have your university grade. So this happened to me, and somehow I switched from writing code to writing football articles and news and match reports. And I spent most of my career working for UEFA.com, which is the official website for UEFA, the European Football Union. I started as a translator, but over the years, and there I have to say there were many years, 19 to be frank, or 18. Over the years, I did multiple jobs for UEFA.com. I worked as a reporter on football matches like Champions League and Euros. I worked as an editor for my team. Then as the editor-in-chief, I was the head of the Russian language editorial team. So it was not all the UEFA.com. It was just a part of the multilingual editorial team. I worked as an interviewer. I worked as a social media manager. This is what concerns written content creation. And then I also had an experience of spoken content creation. I worked as football commentator and basketball commentator for a little bit for a local channel. I'm based in Riga. I have to tell you this. I'm based in Riga, Latvia. This is where I hail from. And I worked as a football commentator for a local channel and then for Setanta Sports for a short period of time. And I still am a radio talk show host with my colleague here in Riga at Latvian Radio. So I guess this is the main spheres where I have my experience, and I will focus mainly on them. This is written and spoken content creation. A couple of years ago, I decided to change what I was doing, and this is how I ended up at my current job. We're called Mighty Tips, and we are betting affiliates. So we're like a medium between the sports books and their potential customers. We are a family of multilingual websites packed with all sorts of betting related content, but mostly these are bookmaker reviews, bonus comparisons, uh, football tips. We publish free daily football predictions. And our model is, I mean, I'm, I don't really know who who are you guys exactly and what sectors you are coming from. So I'm telling this because I'm not sure that everybody knows what's a betting affiliate and how these things work. So that's why I maybe sometimes go a little bit deeper than I have to. So uh, yeah, our model is that we try to rank high on Google when users search for betting related topics and questions and keywords. So we lure them or attract them or engage them to visit our website. And from our website, if they go to certain sportsbook and if they register, if they make their first deposit, if they lose some money, we get a share. I won't get into the details of financial models here, but this is basically the idea. We redirect user traffic to bookmakers and get paid for that. Uh, so my job at Mighty Tips is communications and marketing manager or head of communications and marketing since not very long ago. Uh, if I go deeper, then what I mostly do now is I care about our brand's digital presence, our brand's digital authority, and our brand's digital awareness. Yeah, we will touch on that later, but for now, so you just had the idea what I do, uh, and I guess we can switch to the next slide. Let me take a step back and tell you a bit how we approached content creation when I used to work for UEFA.com. It was a great, great time, paradise, easy life, practically. Uh, so we did not as you probably know, or maybe not know, SEO, search engine optimization, consists of several uh, columns, yeah, several aspects, and we didn't have to care about most of them. So technical SEO, which means how the website is written in code, how the pages are written in code, how they are structured, what is their guts, their viscera. We didn't have to think about that because there was a separate company that provided all the IT services, and they did all the job. And I even don't know whether they were good at it or not, but we didn't care at that time. So then there is user interface slash user experience, which we also didn't have to take care about because the very same company, they did all the digital things for us. Like they created the website, they provided the updates, they were thinking about uh, the interface and the user journey. So our hands were clean here. Offsite SEO, which mostly means securing backlinks. I have never heard of a backlink when I was working for the UEFA.com. Yeah, because we were in a privileged state. We had the authority just by nature. Yeah, just because UEFA is such a big organization and they host big competitions like UEFA Champions League, UEFA Euros, UEFA Europa League. We didn't have to care about securing backlinks because there was dozens and hundreds and thousands of media and blogs and social influencers that referenced to us natively, naturally, just because we had the information that we had and just because we had the authority we had. So we only had to care about content, and we won't be discussing these aspects like technical SEO, offsite SEO, and user interface in our masterclass here. Just the content, a bit of brand stuff and a bit of SEO stuff. Uh, so there was little SEO thinking at all for us. The only SEO related thing that we had to think about was the headings and the subheadings. Yeah, so we only had to create engaging and searchable title for our articles, whether it's an interview or a match report or match preview, whatever, and subheadings that would be nice and searchable and recognizable by Google too. This was the only thing. And let's say if I started to work for UEFA.com in 2004, if I remember it right, then we only started to think about SEO maybe 10 years later or 12 years later. So it was practically non-existent for me at that point. And I took it for granted that practically all the content that we created was by nature was automatically unique, relevant, and useful for the readers, because all we wrote about was football, and football did the engagement work for us. Yeah, football is engaging itself. So whether it was a preview, a review, an interview, a match report, a news about a player injury, an online blog, it was all about football. It was all about big competitions. It was all what people needed. Not all of them, but there was a very big amount of people who was searching for this content and who was reading it and who was always hungry for more. Uh, Besides, the idea of articles at UEFA.com was that they were frequently updated. Yeah, first of all, the website was frequently updated. Yeah, it was and still is a news website. So every day, uh, tens, yeah, I guess tens of articles get published in several languages on several topics. So the website is constantly refreshed, which is a great sign for Google. And specific pages are constantly refreshed as well. I don't just mean automatic pages like, let's say, live results, yeah, that are fed by the APIs and get updated automatically. I also mean the articles uh, which are updated by the results too, which are updated by new quotes or by new injuries. Let's say if it was a match preview, it was published 2 weeks before the match, and as the new information appeared, it was constantly updated, making this page stay relevant for the readers, for the audience, and also for Google. Again, let me reiterate that I took it all for granted. I never thought that it could be any other way. And now after I have switched my job, I understand that it was a bliss. What I also understand now is that it was a bliss not only because the authority that UEFA.com had, but also because we had such a great thing as a clear style guide. And we come to the next slide here. Brand style guide. Uh, so if you are building your brand, or if you are thinking to build your brand, I firmly believe that this is apart from financial and business model. I strongly believe that this is the thing you should start from. Yeah, before creating websites, before creating visuals, before creating logos, and obviously before creating content, you have to create your style guide, because it will define the whole direction in which your brand will go. It will define how you address your audience and who you address and why you address. It will define your voice. Because normally when we converse with another human being, we uh, we listen to what he says, he or her, yeah, and based on his words, and then later also on his actions. But the initial impression is pretty much always the words, how they speak, what is their voice, what are they telling you. Yeah, we base our judgments, and this is the very same thing how it works with the audience or customers and the brands. Because what is a brand? It is not a logo. It is not a title or a company name. It is, let's say, a sum of impressions that our customers have about our brand, our company. Yeah, this is how we are perceived and how we are remembered, and what each customer thinks about who we are. So this is why this is so important. Whether we understand this or not, and whether our customers understand this or not, and we're talking about content now, we are in constant conversation with our readers, with our users, with our customers through content. And I do not mean just blogs or articles. I mean also notifications on website or mobile notifications. I mean error messages. I mean button captions. I mean modal windows, confirmation dialogues, navigation bar. This all is a conversation. And regardless of the platform, yeah, where we post our content, or regardless of a website or a mobile application space where this content appears, we should always remember about having our distinctive voice. Yeah, we should always sound like ourselves. And if we haven't defined what we sound like, we won't have consistency here. Yeah, we will be sounding like different brands every other time. We will be sounding like different persons every other time. So uh, we have to maintain this whole strategy. I don't know, this whole idea of how we address our users, and this will be our voice. Depending on the context, depending on the situation, depending on the platform, we may dial certain aspects of our voice up and down. And this is our tone. And we should adapt our tone if we understand who are our customers, and if we understand the context, the situation that we are in. Uh, so I imagine that this is hard to understand, but let me draw such a parallel. Uh, Voice is our strategy, and tone is our tactics. Yeah, strategy is something big, is a general idea of how we do things, and tactics is something smaller, of how we deal with the exact situation, but within the confines of our strategy. Same thing with the voice and tone. So let me give me an example. You show your user an error message. It should be short and neutral, and this is tone, but it still should maintain a human touch. This is voice. Yeah, so let's say uh, you have encountered error 4140XZ. Yeah, this is an error message, but this is not a human voice. Yeah, this is a robotic voice. Although this is short and neutral. Yeah, but if we say something, oops, something went wrong, please try again. This sounds human, this sounds caring, and this is short and neutral. Yeah, so this is the example how we can combine our voice and our tone into a message that sounds trustworthy and clear and understandable. Uh, what uh, Another thing that a brand style guide has to include, if we're thinking about content, yeah. I mean, I sometimes may forget about that, but let me just remind you that we are talking about content and content creation. And apart from the voice and tone, style guide usually has to contain subtleties, small things that also create the whole picture of how your brand is perceived. Yeah, this topic is very close for me as a former or maybe present or maybe future editor and a person who is so square that he likes to search for mistakes in restaurant menus, and I always see these small things, and whenever I see discrepancies and mistakes and sloppiness, I can feel just how my trust to this brand or to this place diminishes. So, just to give you several examples of what REF.com style guide had, uh, capitalization of the letters. Do we use sentence case? Mostly in our titles and headings. Do we use, yes, sentence case is where you only capitalize the first sentence of the letter. Or do we have title case where we capitalize every word uh, in a title, which is the case with many iGaming brands, as I can judge. And this is something that resonates with me in a negative way. Yeah, I believe that this is not shouting out loud like all caps, but this is like the desire to be flashy and to be salesy. Like, we'll start every word in our sentence with a capital letter, and we will look great and cool and like a host in a flashy TV show. So for me, just my personal view. For me, the choice is always the sentence case. We're not talking about graphics and advertisements, just regular content. Okay, so another thing that we had, numbers. How do we write numbers? Do we write two with a number, or do we write two with words? Yeah, and where do we write it? If it's interface, then we probably want a two with a digit because it takes less space. If it's an article or news, we want to write two in letters because this is the usual practice, and this is easier for user to comprehend. How we write dates. Yeah. Do we have consistency? Because sometimes you open an affiliate web page and you see three dates. The date is the same, but you see three instances of the very same date, all written in different formats. Yeah. So you wanna decide on one format and you want to stick to that. You want to decide on your punctuation. Just a random example is the Oxford comma. Let's say uh, I say sentence case, title case, and all caps. Do I put the comma before and? This is the Oxford comma, or do I not? Again, you can do one way or another, but what you want to have is consistency, because if you don't have it, you lose trust. Maybe not from all the audience, yeah, but from that part who is pesky and square enough, and who has enough attention to see such things. Uh, let's say for a certain percent of your audience doesn't care about that, but there is certain percentage of your audience who does care and who can be scared away by this, especially if these are maybe your business partners, yeah, not just regular users opened your website to read a blog article on, let's say, total over betting on or something like that. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide, and let me give you just an example of voice. So we have a message. We want to ask our users to select their favorite bookmaker. It's maybe it's a non-existent example, but just for the sake of example. So we address them. Select your favorite. Personalize your experience. Select your favorite sportsbook and receive the most relevant content. Why this is bad? The style is a bit robotic, not human. Then select your favorite. Favorite what? This is not clear. And receive the most relevant content. Well, for us, maybe we are used to the word content. We understand what this is. But people do not think in terms of content. They think in news, bonuses, etc. So let's try to see another example. Who's your bookie? Yeah, the message is the same. Who's your bookie? Get the skinny of their latest stuff. Why this is bad? In my opinion, this is too informal, too much slang, and this can be alienating for some audience, let's say non-native speakers or maybe older people who don't understand what is get the skinny or what is a bookie. And this undermines the sense of prestige and respect. Obviously, if your brand wants to maintain the prestige and respect, maybe you have some other idea. You want to be fun and youthful, and you want to be a hooligan. Then this is the one for you. But let's switch to the next slide, which is the good slide. Select your favorite sportsbook. Get notifications about their latest news, bonuses, and offers. It has a clear call to action. It has clear front loading of benefits phrased in natural language that takes the user perspective into account. And it uses human language. Yeah. So this is the example of voice. Yeah. And this is why you have to understand who are you addressing. Yeah. To select the right voice. Uh, let's switch to the next slide and talk a little bit about building your brand through content. So again, the content is how you address people. And obviously, you are judged by that. But you are judged by that not only by your potential customers, but also by Google, by the search engines, and especially after the recent Google updates, which put even more weight on the notorious EAT practices, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness of the content. In brief, what it means is that your content has to be helpful. It has to be it has to come from a source with authority and a source with hands-on experience. Yeah, most in a best case scenario. And these three letters, EAT, sometimes EEAT, experience is also added. They define how we create our content or what we should think about when creating our content. Also, after the recent Google updates, there are bigger rewards for clear online presence of brands and backlinks from high authority websites. Well, backlinks were always important for SEO, but clear online presence for brands is taking central place now. And to be frank, partially, this is what I'm doing here now for my company. Yeah, on the one hand, I'm happy to share my knowledge. I will be more than happy if someone finds something useful here. But also, this is part of my job. I have to make my company, Mighty Tips, visible online. And this is one of the ways how we do it. Yeah. We get we get references here, there, LinkedIn, somebody's blog. Uh, so this is what's happening now as well. Uh, but also, apart from benefiting our SEO and organic search traffic, this also benefits our overall brand perception and user loyalty. Yeah, this is not just an SEO thing. Just like with every brand awareness campaign. Yeah, the more visible your brand is, the more people are likely to at some point remember it and maybe engage with it, somehow react to it. Sometime let's say see the name of your brand and say to themselves, I remember something like that. Maybe these guys are worth checking them out. And so brand visibility, brand authority is very important these days for Google. And if you want to create content that supports your brand, that benefits your brand, you have to think about creating content that resonates with your brand and resonates with your audience. Yeah, because your brand should be connected, should be related to your audience. So if we create content that is relevant for our potential customers or for our customers, it not only offers them value, yeah, the expertise. It's not just a useful article for them, but it also shows that you understand them on a personal level, if you wish, that you understand their challenges, their interests, their desires. And if you show your users that you understand them, you create a personal connection with them. Yeah, which means you create trust, you create loyalty, and eventually you create engagement. And this is what you want. Yeah, you want your content to be uh, to hook. Yeah, you want your content to be the hook for your customers, for your readers, and this is what you think. Yeah, this is what you do. You you try to understand their needs. You try to understand their interests. You try to understand their fears and derive topics and questions and articles from that. And if you manage to align your content and tailor it to your audience needs, that means that your brand has a chance to mean value for them, to mean reliability for them, to mean trust for them. This also means that by the word of mouth, that they would be your sales agents. They would be your advocates. They would be your marketing agencies, if you wish to put it like that. So this is why you have to think, not just create content in the dark, but to think about your audience and to think about aligning your content to your audience. But how do we create content that fits the identity of your brand? Again, we have to go back and start from the basics of your brand building. Do you have your brand voice and values defined? Yeah. Is your brand formal and professional, or casual and friendly? Yeah. If you understand these things, then this will guide the style and approach of your content. Yeah. Do you have a luxury classic casino, or maybe a casino that is youthful, fun, and aggressive? Yeah. this changes the whole approach and the whole perception of how you are building your content. So define your brand voice and values. Uh, Consistency across all platforms, whether it's a blog, social media post, or podcast, they should reflect the same voice, tone, style, and values. Well, tone, maybe I'm lying to you here a bit as well, but the voice has to be the same. The tone can be different from platform to platform, depending on the demographics and depending of your audience on every platform. Uh, but your style, your voice, your values have to be the same because this is what builds brand identity and this is what builds brand recognition. You don't want to be a luxury classic casino, let's say on YouTube, and youthful fun and aggressive casino on Twitter or X. Yeah, because this will create chaos between among your audience. You want to be consistent here to be recognized. Then again, you have to know your audience. We will touch on that later as well. But what I just told you, your brand identity should resonate with your target audience. Yeah. So you have to understand, who are you working for? Who are you addressing? Who are you writing for? Or who are you talking to? Visual elements have to be aligned as well. Your graphics, your videos, your design elements, your user interface elements. For that, like you have a style guide for content, you should have a style book for your imagery. Yeah, you have to understand what are the colors of your brand, the color schemes, what are the primary colors, what are the secondary colors, what are the fonts you are using, because all this can, I mean, let's say you want to address a younger audience, but you use a Times Roman font. This will not do. A younger audience, this is something alien for them. This is something, well, it's not frightening, but this is something they would not trust. This is something from an old newspaper. So even such a subtle thing as a font selection can define the success of your brand and whether the users trust you or not. And you also have to adapt and evolve. That said, you have to stay true to your brand's identity, but you have to analyze and to listen to the room. You have to adapt your content based on changes in the industry, in the audience, in technicalities. So you have to be flexible and responsible, but not too much. Yeah, you have to stay on your swimming lane. You have to stay on your road and not wobble too much left or right. Uh, so let me just give you an example of how we try to create content that resonates with our audience. So I have since I have a media background, I'm running a blog that is partially on sports because we're betting affiliates and we're dealing sports. We publish football previews. So my blog is partially sports, but it also partially culture and partially life. And unfortunately, I cannot boast with huge traffic that my blog attracts. But the thing is that, and I'm SEO free. I don't have to think about the keywords here. I don't have to consult our SEO department. But still, it brings value, and it brings value in SEO department because it's relevant, it's unique, and if I have to believe what our SEO department tells us, then it's still useful for Google because it sees constant updates. It sees unique human written information that is on topic, that is relevant. And this also helps our website as a whole, even if it doesn't bring much traffic and it doesn't bring much conversions. Let me give you a better example of misaligned content. This is from my former life, from UEFA.com. So at some point, a huge portion of our content was about domestic leagues. Yeah, every Saturday, every Sunday, we're publishing roundups of how an English Premier League teams fared in their local championship or an FA Cup. We had depending on the language version, we had roundups on Spanish league or Russian league or Ukrainian league or Kazakhstan league, and at some point we had a content audit which showed us, which they what they did is they divided all our content into 3 tiers, tier 1 to 3, based on the visits and views. And we saw that these types of content is practically invisible. So we wiped irrelevant categories and we focused on our right to own topics. Yeah, which was like UEFA competitions draws, UEFA competitions calendars, official awards, official events. So UEFA.com became the idea was to become the main source for official UEFA news. And this helped us immensely. So at that time, we dropped creating like 40% of what we did, maybe 50, and we kept another 50, and we channeled our effort into creating more of that stuff, more of right to own stuff in the time that we had available because of dropping the irrelevant things. Another example is the football previews that we have on our website, the Mighty Tips. The certain portion of our traffic comes from it. Yeah, it comes from the football previews, which are daily and free. But unfortunately, there is not a lot of conversions. And should we drop the previews because they do not convert? This is a discussion that is ongoing, but personally, I'm an advocate of a position that we should not. Because even if it doesn't convert, it draws traffic and it shows Google that we are alive, that our website is alive, that it's relevant, that it attracts user interest, that it is relevant to their intent. So even if it doesn't bring us direct revenues, it still helps our site on Google search results. But this is a point to discuss. But these are just examples of how the content can be aligned and how it can behave differently and not always directly, but still to the benefit of your brands. So in short, again, the thing before creating your content, you have to understand, know your customer. KYC is the popular abbreviation in modern days and in iGaming as well. Who do we want to address? Yeah, do we want to address the Queen of England or a businessman from Dubai or a kid from a working quarters in London? Yeah, because if we do not understand that, we do not know what to offer. Yeah, what do we want to tell them? And whether they need that. So again, we have to understand their needs, not just to understand who they are, but to understand what they want and what is the best format to address and engage them. Probably if it's a young lad from a London working quarter, then probably the TikTok is the way to talk to him. If it's Queen of England, I'm not entirely sure. maybe it's a paper letter on a golden paper sent by Royal Mail, something like this. But there is an appropriate medium, an appropriate platform for every segment, for every category of our audience. Uh, the platform, yeah, I would not be stopping too much on this table, but it's just a quick comparison of the platforms and their strong slash weak sides, which should be taken into consideration when thinking about where you want to have your content placed. Yeah, so just a couple of examples. So let's say TikTok, yeah, primarily Gen Z and younger millennials, high engagement with short videos, but limited SEO capabilities. And is it suited for iGaming? Not really, because it has strict advertising guidelines. You can work around that. You can work with influencers, but that's the deal. Or let's say there is YouTube, all ages, millennials dominant, no restrictions, highly suited for iGaming because it's highly suited for detailed explanations, reviews, live streams. Maybe this is the platform that you want to go. Or blogs, yeah, wide range of demographics, older millennials, does a lot of good for the SEO of your website. Uh, Highly suited for iGaming. Maybe this is the way that you want to go. Or LinkedIn. Yeah, it's low to moderate engagement. It's you will hardly get any traffic and any conversions from LinkedIn. But if you want to go B2B, if you want to find new partners, if you want to recruit talent, if you want to learn business insights, then this is the platform for you to go. So uh, instead of trying to go uh, everywhere, or instead of trying to go just Instagram because it sells, again, think who you address and what is your message and what you want to achieve before selecting the platform for your content. Then AYC. Please do not Google it. I invented it myself. There is no such thing. Adapt your content, because adapt your content to first of all to your customers, because otherwise you risk losing their trust. Yeah, they would not feel that you are speaking to them. They would not feel that you are their peer. They would not trust you because they you do not belong to them. This is the feeling that you risk having. Let's say demographics, age. Yeah, examples. In English, it's easier because you address your users as you. You formal and you informal look similar on the screen of your iPhone or your computer. But let's say we take another language, German. Do you go with Z, which is formal, or do you go with du, which is informal? How old are your customers? Yeah, you have to decide here. Or same thing with Spanish. Do you go with usted, which is formal, or do you go with tú, which might be more suited for a younger audience? Gender, again, English is safe. Let's say a player is a player, whether it's female or male, but German is not safe. Yeah, Spieler is male, Spielerin is female. How are you gonna work around that? Will you go with just Spieler because 99% of your audience is male, or maybe it's 50-50, and you have to think about how you're gonna work around that. Maybe you will have to speak to with your developers for them to create a system that would allow you to vary how you address your users depending on the information you have about them. You have to localize, of course, so you have to consider your geo and language. Will you go with analyze with Z or will you go with analyze with S? Depends on whether you want to touch on the US audience or British audience. Uh, do you want to go with decimal? Yeah, if we speak about betting, you want to go with decimal odds, fractional odds, or maybe American odds. Again, this depends a lot on what is your target territory. If it's Britain, then it's just fractional because this is their history, because this is their culture. If it's Europe or Asia, it's decimal. But if you go with fractional or decimal odds to American audience, they will just not understand and close your page instantly. Yeah, you lose your audience and you lose your money eventually. Uh, let's say, let me give you uh, an example of from my experience. Once we did a localization project for a Spanish newspaper, Marca, and we hired a translator who had like 10 years experience in this business. He was connected to sports. He had experience in betting, and he did his job to his best abilities. But the next day, we got a very angry call from Marca saying, "Come on, guys, do you think we're stupid? This guy is not Spanish." And we were amazed and terrified as well. And because I knew and I still know this guy personally, he's a good professional. But we went to them, and I asked him, Juan, how come? Like this is the situation. He said, "Well, I am from Venezuela, but I've moved to Spain 15 years ago, and I speak Castellano. I speak Madrid version of Spanish, and I write it. And I've been working for 10 years in a media agency, but still, Marca, as language experts, as a company who trades in language, they were so attentive, they were so subtle that for them it was a red flag. Maybe it was just a choice of words. Yeah, maybe it was just three words in an article, but it was a red flag for them, and we lost that contract. Yeah, this is what can cost you a lack of proper localization. And this is also why you can trust Google Translate or other machine translators here when you are checking. Let's say you have a multilingual content or just content written in other languages by some other writer, and you decide, okay, I'm gonna go and check this. I'm gonna just run it through the Google Translator, and I'm gonna see uh, what quality we have here. So, of course, this can be helpful. And of course, you can grasp some of the ideas and maybe spot some mistakes. But this is highly risky because you know how Google Translate works. Yeah. And even if you think that the translation looks fine, it can be horrendous. Yeah. And you can be basing your judgment on the basis of just plainly wrong copy of text. So my advice is, I mean, this can work both ways. You can decide that this bit is good because it looks good in English after you run it through Google Translate, and you can be wrong because it's crap in the native language. And you can also decide that this is bad in English, while in reality it's perfectly fine in the native language, but Google Translate just did what it did. So my advice, if you think about localization, is to at least in the beginning, or at least when hiring content creators or writers, to have a trusted native proofreader or editor who can really tell you whether this is good or not, and whether you should continue to work with this person or not. Podcasts, yeah, this is the spoken content part of my presentation. Podcasts are very popular now, especially within the iGaming industry. Why is that? They're deeply engaging. Yeah, they allow to go deep into topics that are relevant for iGaming, and they keep the listeners engaged, and they build trust by providing value beyond typical promotional content while being promotional content. They're easy to consume, yeah, because they're easier to consume than the written content. As we all know, attention span diminishes, and reading longer texts becomes a lost art. I don't want to say that reading becomes a lost art because we read all the time. I think we read, on average, we read more than ever before because we read interfaces, we read mobile texts, we read notifications, we read Facebook posts, we read all the time. It's just that we don't read longer copies because we are not used to focusing for long periods of time now. With podcasts, you don't need a special time as opposed to reading a book. You can listen to a podcast while doing things, while doing dishes, while jogging, while working, while driving. This is time effective. You're building authority. Just same with written content. Obviously, if you have proper, informative, interesting, engaging podcast, this is what happens. You enhance your brand. Uh, you reach niche audience. Uh, because iGaming brands can tap into specific segments such as sports bettors, poker enthusiasts, or esports fans by offering them tailored content that resonates with their communities. This is the same thing as with micro influencers, yeah, which is another trend in iGaming now. You do not necessarily want to partner with an influencer with 1 million followers, but you want to find one with 10K followers and partner with them because what he has is 10K of highly engaged uh, followers. Yeah. Same with podcasts. If someone is listening to your podcasts, this automatically means that he's interested in the topic that you offer him. So this is niche and this is highly engaging. And podcasts go work well with other platforms. You can also embed your podcast in your blog. You can mention podcast in your YouTube video. You can explore adjacent topics, yeah, in your other channels. Uh, and this multi-platform approach strengthens the brand's overall content ecosystem. Uh, I had, and I still have, several practical things on podcasts, but I'm sorry, I'll be quick here. Again, do not hesitate to contact me if you want more comments on that. So before you start a podcast, you have to understand a few things. Just like with brand, just like with any other content, you have to understand what format you want to go. You want to do solo, just just telling your thoughts or your views or your takes to your audience. Yeah, this can be the strong points are you can go deep and you can create personal connection. Maybe you want to go narrative, like true crime style with sound effects, with dramatic pauses and stuff. This can be captivating. Do you want to go talk show, multiple viewpoints, very dynamic, like a panel discussion? Do you want to go with interview? Because then you can leverage the authority of your guest. Yeah, you may not have you may have zero authority yourself, but if you invite a Bet365 CEO, you will have that interest not because of you, but because of him or her or the brand name. Do you want a co-hosted format, which has a natural dialogue and maybe a good chemistry and some humor between the two hosts? So you have to decide on format. You have to decide on topic, of course, and you want to be specific. You don't want to just let's do a podcast about casinos. You rather want to go, let's do a podcast about Canadian casinos that have partnerships with Instagram bloggers. Yeah. Again, you wanna hit your niche, and you wanna hit that portion of engaged listeners who might potentially become your customers. You don't want to address everybody in the world. Yeah, you want to address people who will be interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer. Consistency. Yeah, do not start if you plan on doing 1 or 3 episodes. Uh, plan ahead. How many seasons do you want to go? How many episodes do you want to create in each season? What plot plot each episode? Even if it doesn't go your way, even if it doesn't go as planned, you will have this road to go uh, that will help you in case you're lost. Even if you don't create as many episodes as you initially planned, you still have that target and you have that vision. Yeah. Plan gives you vision and understanding of how much effort you need to put into that and whether you have that effort. Maybe you don't have the strength, the time, and you shouldn't be starting at all. And obviously you have to create a title and a logo. I wouldn't be stopping at that, but try. Obviously, it's nice to have a title that is flashy but also telling. Yeah, so it's catchy, but it also tells what your podcast is about. Uh, then, guys, I have a couple of slides because me personally, as I told you, I prefer when it comes to a podcast, I prefer an interview format because I don't have that much authority and I don't have that much time and probably talent to do something true crime style because it's very time and effort consuming. While interview, while uh, while it takes time to get ready to prepare it, but it still gives you a very time effective and cost effective result. Yeah, so since interview is being my favorite format, I compiled a couple of slides with practical form for a good interview. Um, okay, let me just run through it. So first, find a person who has something to say. And here we should split into B2B and B2C probably, because for B2B, this means someone with knowledge, experience, and insights, obviously ready to share. For B2C, this means something different. This means something with stories to tell, because this is what's engaging for the audience. Yeah. Avoid someone who appears in the media space very often. Most probably, they have already shared everything they had to share. And avoid someone who is too cautious because uh, you want something extra. You don't want generic answers, which you could have drafted yourself or ask ChatGPT to generate. Then get prepared, do your homework, get ready. It means learning many things and details about your interview partner or his or her brand or company. And when the person on the wrong side of the microphone sees such a level of your knowledge, it creates respect, and he will probably be much more open to you when he sees that genuine interest in his career or his brand. Uh, you will also be available. You will also be able to avoid repeated questions and topics. You don't want to do the same thing that somebody has already done. So be sure to scan the news and social media related to this person or this brand. Plan your questions. Again, this is a part of preparation, because it allows you to understand which topics are pleasing to your guest and which are displeasing. And if you start with bad question, you risk losing your guest after the first question. It's better to ask hard and difficult questions later in the interview, or when you feel that there is a genuine contact between you and your interview partner. And do not be afraid to talk hard topics. Be respectful, but ask hard questions, because eventually your goal when creating content is to please the audience, not your guest. Yeah, and if everything you do is trying to please your guest, this will be most probably be boring for your readers or for your listeners. And try to make it interesting. Sounds easy, but hard to do. We in iGaming, or in digital marketing and digital content marketing, we all like to use the word engagement. I like make engaging content, make engaging videos, engaging this, engaging that. Me personally, I like the word interesting. I think what is interesting is engaging. So try to be interesting. Try to be interesting, first of all, to yourself, because your main judge and jury. Uh, what is interesting, what people like to hear is good old storytelling. Yeah, just imagine a story that you would be telling to your friends while doing barbecue, or to your colleagues while having a break from your working desk. These are the stories that people want to hear. The details is what's interesting. Uh, try to answer the question: is there something that the audience will remember when they close the podcast or interview? Uh, and either you again, if you do not have the authority to be interesting to users on your own, interview either a big name or a big brand, or if you interview someone, then try to make your interview about a big name and a big brand. And storytelling. Just a quick question from my recent radio experience. We had a former Olympic athlete who used to do 110 meters with hurdles. And I asked him, how do you see your career? Do you regret something not doing? Do you regret not doing something in your career? And he was a bit shy to answer, but he told me, yes, I regret that I didn't spend an extra year on something that would have helped me to achieve better results. And I bit into that, and I asked him, what was it? And he told me, no, no, this is not interesting. Nobody cares. But I insisted. And he told me a detail which, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I found it amazing and very interesting. I found it one of the best bits of that interview. He told me that there is a short, before the first hurdle, there is a short run when they gain speed. So he told me that in his days, the common practice was to do 7 steps, or no, eight steps before the hurdle, and then start jumping. And he said, and at the time, the new practice was to do 7 steps, not eight. And for me to switch from 8 to 7 steps would have taken a whole year. But in exchange, it would allow me for it would give me a bigger boost and a bigger speed and bigger results eventually. So this is the kind of details that you want to get from your interview partners. Just don't ask standard questions, or you will get standard answers. If it's a written interview, it's a sign of good manners to check back with your interview partner and approve the final version. it can be problematic because people these days are very cautious and they have NDAs and they have many partners and they don't want to offend anybody. Uh, but if they are asking you to take away some bit of an interview, try to persuade them that without it the interview becomes average and that he, her, or his, her brand will look average too. And value those PR managers that try to educate their C-level officials about being open to media. I believe that this is important, and this is again the future of the interview-based content. Uh, SEO and content visibility. I guess that SEO, you have a certain level of understanding of how SEO works for written content, EAT, keywords, structure, and readability, uh, balance between SEO and interesting content. If we speak about podcast and video SEOs, then it's transcriptions, descriptions, show notes, and episode titles. This is one thing that I wanted to show you, that the common practice for the affiliates at least is to write long reviews and long articles and always look at the competition. I just wanted to show you an example from my UEFA.com days. The article, which had barely no text and which was always on top of our search list, it was called Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi Goal for Goal. It had, I don't know, maybe 300 words of text, of copy. And what it had is a long table with just, you don't see the headers, but it was like Lionel Messi, match, date, goal number 120. Cristiano Ronaldo, match, date. This is all it had. And for several years, it continued to generate traffic, generate interest because it matched the user intent, because it was the main question in football. Who is better, Leo or Cristiano? So it's not easy to find such an angle and such topic, but just to give you an example of how an article can be ranked high without having 300 words. Uh, and I guess we'll have to go to Q&As. Just the last word before that. What makes content not just engaging, but effective in driving action? I strongly believe that there is no magic content that sells or converts. There are no magic CTAs, linguistic neuro triggers, or psychological tricks. But what there is a powerful copy, a powerful text. There is a text that is interesting, engaging, that attracts the person's attention and helps to identify the message of this text. I strongly believe that the meaning is more important than the form. And I believe this maybe sound a little bit pathetic, but I believe that the key to good and engaging content is if you put your thoughts in order, and if you put your content in order, and if you are honest, and if you respect the person who you are addressing to. You don't try to cheat him, you don't try to lure him, you don't try to persuade him, but you are respectful and honest. And if you have this in the core of your content creation, then I think you're gonna be fine. Now, questions. Hooray! So let me check the Q&A part. And I will try to answer maybe two or three of them. Just give me a second to read through them. What role does storytelling play in developing innovative content across multiple platforms like blogs and podcasts? I think we touched on that. I think that storytelling is the key, is the engine for engaging content, because this is what you want to hear. This is most interesting. The most interesting stuff. How did the deal go? How was it to meet this person or that? I mean, I'm not able to give you a brilliant example from the top of my head, but storytelling is the key. Uh, how do you strike a balance between creating SEO-driven content and maintaining audience engagement? What practices have you found effective for ensuring long-term visibility, particularly with blogs and podcasts? Yeah, the balance, the balance. I mean, if somebody from if an SEO expert would be sitting here, he would be answering this question differently. But I I believe that you should not allow your SEO experts to dictate how to create your content. I don't mean just don't listen to them. Uh, Listen to them because keywords are still important, but do not listen to them too much. Yeah, try to create interesting content in the first place, and then adapt it to SEO uh, needs. Yeah, take the keywords into account. You can use keywords in headings. You can use keywords in subheadings, in meta descriptions, in episode descriptions or show descriptions. But you don't want to stuff your content with keywords just for the sake of it. Yeah, I believe that Google will continue the trend and the content with a lot of keywords. I mean, I believe that the average volume of keywords in the high ranking articles will continue to diminish uh, to some limit, and we should not be. It has diminished already compared to several years ago, and we should not be uh, focusing the like the future of content writing to keywords. Yeah, be interesting, be honest, and be respectful. It doesn't matter whether it's a blog or a podcast. If you ask me, it doesn't even matter whether it's iGaming or any other sector. The rules, the way I see it, the rules are the same here. Uh, how do you determine whether a blog, podcast, or other content format is the best fit for a specific audience? I think we touched a bit on this again. Yeah, if you understand your audience, uh, try to understand the demographics, the geo, and just go and try to fit it into platforms, because there is plenty of information on the internet, or you can ask ChatGPT as well. What are the strong points of this and that platform, and you will be able to pave at least some way for you to move, not blindfolded and not in a dark room. How can brands stay consistent with their messaging while diversifying content formats like video, blogs, podcasts, etc.? Uh, Again, this all comes down to having your own voice, yeah, to understand what and how you want to address, and then you can and you should obviously switch this tone from platform to platform. You don't want to sound the same on Twitter as you sound in your blog. Yeah, you don't use emojis on blogs, and without an emoji, a tweet is not a tweet. Yeah, so you have to see the vision, the main road, and just stay true to your voice and stay true to your messages. And formats can be different. I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you any more details at the moment, because first of all, the question is pretty wide, and the time is pretty short. feel free to contact me. I will do my best to answer your questions to my best abilities. And thank you very much for having me. It was an honor, and I hope, well, speaking for myself, it went much better than I thought. I was pretty much excited before the thing, but I hoped you heard something useful, and you would be able to bring something back to your work desks and to your future projects. Thanks again. Thanks to EGC for having me, and this is the time for me to say goodbye. Take care, everyone.